Hi, my name is Sarah Dykeisen, and I think I'm a noodle.
Hi, my name is Sarah Detweiler, and I don't trust myself.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
I'm Anna Coletto, and I'm absolutely petrified of being wrong.
Hi, my name is Claire Adams, and I'm really quiet.
Hi, my name is Grace Goodwin, and look at my beautiful walls.
Hi, I'm Nick. Tell me I'm funny.
Hi, I'm Jordan, and sometimes my skin doesn't fit.
So one thing that Cheryl E. and I do in the first session when people are discovering knowledge of self is we spend a lot of time looking at how we walk. We spend a lot of time looking at how that walk changes atmosphere. We spend a lot of time figuring out our own personal atmosphere. How do we change a room when we enter it? So this gets a little personal sometimes, but we try to keep it fun. So as we are watching people move around the space as themselves, I would have them focusing on their feet, perhaps, and really take note of how your foot is hitting the ground. Are you a heel ball toe person, a toe ball heel? Do you favor the inside of your foot? Do you favor the outside of your feet? Do you do you roll your feet to the outside? So, as people are moving around the space, if you all as an audience are just looking specifically at people's feet, if you focus in on Pilsner, you'll notice how she loves to stand on the outside of her foot. But if you're looking at Nick's feet, he has this amazingly crazy turnout. It's almost as if he's pulling himself through the day by the inside of his heels. And Grace very much has a full foot approach to the ground. She does walk heel ball toe, but it is very much the entire bottom of the foot that is hitting. So if we even just looked at those three different types of footprints, literally, and then we began to ask each person to try to take on somebody else's footprint. What happens if we have a load of fun with Pilsner and Grace taking on Nick's walking pattern? So if they start to think of putting strings or body centers on the inside of their heels and really pulling those forward. Nick, you can exaggerate. You could do a caricature of yourself to help Pilsner and Grace see what to do. Pilsner and Grace, as you are watching Nick, what other sorts of idiosyncrasies are you seeing pop out? Put those on your body. Take note of how Nick leans back a little bit when he walks. Kind of is getting pulled forward by not only his inner heels, but his thighs are leaning forward. His hips are kind of pulling him forward. What does that do to you, ladies? Super exaggerated. See how much you can find that lean back. Often as we start trying to steal each other's walks, it's a bit painful. We're not gonna lie. Good. Take note of how Nick's hands rarely face each other. His palms are often facing the back. The tops of his hands are often facing forward. So add that in as an idiosyncrasy. Yeah. So Pilsner and Grace, as you're walking around as Nick, what do you feel like saying? What sort of character pops into your head, or what sort of adjective pops into your head as you are moving like Nick? Now, these adjectives or these words are not necessarily things Nick would say. It's just that Pilsner walking like this would maybe make her feel like yeah. Grace walking like this makes her feel like like a crab. Oh, that's great, because that'll tie into animal work later. So here's some fun, crazy walks that we can play with. The beginning of the year, Claire walked like this, which is so different than how she walks now. And it's fun because then we can all jump in line and walk behind her and begin to steal her walk, put that on our own bodies, and a whole new character can come out. So we are looking at her idiosyncrasies of that toe ball heel. We're looking at the idiosyncrasies of how her arms aren't swinging too much. We're looking at any of the possible tension that is existing in her shoulders. Yeah? Yeah, and if we want to be really funny, if it is Pilsner impersonating what she sees on Grace, good Gina, on Claire, then Grace is impersonating what she sees on Pilsner. So Grace, get a little, make sure you're really looking at what's happening on Pilsner. And then Nick, do what you see happening on Grace. So essentially this should be escalating. And then, Anna, do what you see on Nick. Nick, be hyper vigilant about your arms. Don't let them swing too much. Don't let your arms swing too much, Grace. Do exactly, okay, so Pilsner, keep those toes going forward. You're not, there it is. I know you hate it. I can see how much you hate it. Yeah, good. That's fun. Cool. Good. So finding the movement specificity is not that easy, but once you finally do, it's pretty cool. Nick, you got to keep your toes going because by the time it's gotten to Anna, her walk has completely changed. Yeah, come on, keep it specific, guys. Keep it specific. Use all your evil training. Yes. All right, now keep moving. But Claire, I want you to switch into your today walk. And now Pilsner, you switch into what Claire is doing now. Good. Grace, do whatever you see Pilsner doing, not what you see Claire doing. This is trickier. Nick, do what you see Grace doing. And Anna, you got the drill. Try to put on what you see Nick doing. So we're definitely at a heel ball toe. No doubt about that. Yeah. She does have a very upright spine and a very upright head, but her shoulders are still kind of tilting forward. So how do you kind of roll your shoulders forward? It's weird. There's an isolation. I'm not saying you're weird, Claire. It's specific, I should say. So sorry. So the shoulders roll forward, almost like you're cold, Pilsner. What happens if you think, there it is, your shoulders rolling forward? Good. Okay, now Grace has a very specific idiosyncrasy. She sinks down into her hips and leads with her hips when she walks. But that isn't what Claire does. So this is where I tease Grace to really pull up out of your hips, roll those shoulders forward, and see if you can find what Pilsner is doing. Nick loves to lead with the inside of his heels, which is not at all what Claire is doing. So now Nick really needs to be hyper vigilant and look at Grace's feet and impersonate what Grace is doing, because that's what Pilsner's doing, which is what Claire is doing. So this is kind of cool because you're seeing how hard it is to actually, when you're putting on a whole new character walk, how it is to get rid of, oh, your turned out feet are back again, Nick. Yeah. What, you said you're having a great time, Anna? Good. Good. But it's hard to get rid of your own personal idiosyncrasies when you're trying to create a character. So Cheryl, in the first session, when we are focusing heavily on knowledge of self, teaches a technique that she created specifically for studio called the Heart of the Clown. And the purpose of the Heart of the Clown is to have each student put together a costume or an outfit that brings to life a character based on the actor's insecurity and turn it into a character strength. How did you come up with your clown and your clown's favorite object? What is it based off of? What was the insecurity that you were playing with, perhaps?
Well, I kind of as I discovered more and more about my clown, I realized that my clown really had trust issues, and that I used this prop, which is kind of like a stuffed animal I've had since I was 4.
I would say over time I've started to realize that it's a lot. I based the character a lot around my insecurity of always being talking.
Sorry, that
because
was probably
this clown
really
is
loud.
very isolated and just silent. So it's most of the time this is used to
Hide
cover
your
my face.
Great.
Along with the hood.
Cool.
So this isn't my actual costume. My actual costume was a pair of leggings and then a red t-shirt. And I kind of accentuated, it made me feel like a noodle. And I often think I look like a noodle.
A noodle. I love it.
This one is the complete opposite of that.
It's interesting. So your costume at the beginning of the year made you feel like a noodle.
Yes.
Because that's how you saw yourself.
Yes.
So when I said today, go in and pick out a whole new costume, Pilsner,
Yeah.
this is what you come out with. Why?
I think I feel like I'm a very layered person. I have a lot of, I show different personalities to different people. Like if people saw footage of me, like how I am here at school, they'd be like, what? So it's a whole lot of layers.
So these are the individual clowns. Come in. This presentation comes with a laugh track. Again, the entrances and exits of the clown. With the heart of the clown, a big focal point is just knowing that there's no such thing as a wrong choice. The only wrong choice is no choice. And during this session of knowledge of self, That is a huge, huge part of the growth.
Find your breath. Use your breath, both of you.
Come in.
Use your breath.
Follow your impulse. If you have an impulse, follow it. You have an impulse, follow it.
Make sure you breathe in interactions with each other.
Hi, I had Stella Adler, and two of the core aspects of Adler is that success is in the truth of circumstances of play, and that self awareness is the key to an actor's sense of fulfillment. And the reason why I got Adler is because I needed to realize that I'm a sum of all of my parts, and I don't need to look for others for other things. I can trust myself and know that I have the answer.
I got the Suzuki method of acting, which is an Eastern movement philosophy that focuses on instilling discipline and stamina by doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I got it because sometimes I just need to suck it up and work with the pain.
I got Meyerhold Biomechanics, and it's a Russian acting system that relies on motion and movement to tell a story, and it focuses on linking the 3D actor with the two-dimensional space and allowing actors to create artistically through their sculptural terms in space and the way that their movement is. And I got that because at the beginning of the year, I really just needed to get out of my head and get out of the text and everything that I thought that I needed to do and just work through movement and work through how organically things came about rather than trying to manufacture them. It really allowed me to open my mind up in new ways and new ways of approaching character.
I got Michael Chekhov, but more specifically, focal points. And focal points is when you're doing a monologue or scene and you have to figure out who specifically you're speaking to and focusing on and to be into the scene fully. And the reason I got this is because when I would be doing monologues or scenes, I would always check out and look to see if I was doing it right or not by either the director or the coach. And I really needed to learn that I need to stop doing that and to be into the scene 100% and fully.
Hi. I got Grotowski, who's a Polish director and actor, and he later moved to America and did a lot more stuff there. And two of his aspects were reacting to other people's acting, and that was like the sole focus of some of his exercises. And then there was also his entire pour theater, which was where they would do shows, but it would just be focusing on the lines and character, and they would not have any costumes, set, or light. And I thought that was really cool. And I think the reason I got that was because growing up on somebody who's done a lot of like productions with flashy costumes and lighting and set, it shows that you don't have to be pretty about everything to have good material. And I think that is something I need to learn because I'm always really self-conscious that I'm doing something that looks stupid.
I got Viola Spolin, who she created a lot of theater games and pretty much created improv. And I got her because I needed to learn to stop planning everything out and really be in the moment of something. And I needed to learn how to play with my acting.
Pilsner, one of the things that you had to teach us at our first oracles, which is our live performances, it's like an exam that we do at the end of each session. You had to teach us about animal work.
Yes.
Created by Lee Strasberg.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about animal work.
So Lee Strasberg is an American acting theorist who came up with the idea of animal work and studying animals and their natural qualities and the characteristics that we associate with them, and then acting like that animal and moving like that animal, and then slowly, progressively becoming more and more human until it looks like it's a person you could see on the street. A pretty famous example of this is Jim Carrey used pigeons for his performance in Ace Ventura. So that's a very famous example, and when you watch the movie knowing that, you can definitely see it. But still, he's a little bit more over the top than people usually take it, but other than that, that's what he used.
Cool. Hey, and here's a fun question for you, Pilsner.
Yes.
Why were you given Lee Strasberg and animal work as a thing to teach? Surprise!
I figured this was coming. So especially in the beginning of the year, I was not a very comfortable mover. I wasn't, I saw myself as like a noodle and Like I have 3 movements, and 2 of them involve me are the ones I do walking. So I was, getting out of that comfort zone and becoming an animal was something I was like, what? Okay. And now it's like one of my favorite movement techniques, just like, oh, this animal has this, like these characteristics. Like if I'm playing an evil character, I might pick a snake and be like, okay, I'll act like a snake for a little bit.
It ended up being kind of a favorite activity of the first years this year. So we want to share with you a little bit of our fun animal work. So Nick, what sentence are you going to use in your animal work today?
I'm going to use the sentence, for God's sake, don't do drugs.
Of course. Pilsner, how about you?
I'm going to use this feels like a battle march.
Grace, what about you?
I'm going to use I'm softer about things than I realize.
Claire, how about you?
Come on, smile. I know you want to.
Anna!
Sorry. I love you. I don't know what else to say.
Oh, thanks, Anna. Nick and Anna, come out to the space and just play around a little bit with finding your animal at 150%. Go for it. And in this space, where would your animal possibly feel the most comfortable? What would they claim as their space? How do they get to it? And as you're playing with your 150% animal, do they have a sound? Not the sentence yet, but the sound. Don't forget to breathe. Cool. Take your animal out of the space and remember what you've just discovered. Claire and Grace, come on into the space with your animals. But the Nick and Anna animals, remember what you discovered. Grace and Claire animals coming on in. Does your animal have a favorite place in the space? And if so, where is it? How do they deal with it? Grace, take your animal off stage. Pilsner, bring your animal on. Good. Claire, let your animal exit. Anna, let your animal come in. Good. And if your animal makes a sound, play around with that. If you don't know what sound the animal makes, be creative. Make one up. Good, and take your animal to about 75%. So remembering the energy that you have right now, how does your 4-footed animal go to a 2-footed? Good, keeping the energy and the tempo that you found as your animal. Yeah. Good, nice guys. Good, use your breath, which means that vibration can be added and a word can come out here and there, or just a sound, not even a word, but a sound. Good. Good. Pilsner, take your animal off. Nick, come in. at your full 100% animal. The fun part right now is Nick is at 100% animal, but I would not in any situation say that that was too big as a 100% human character on stage. That's what's so cool about this. Cool. Anna, take your character off. Claire, enter with your animal. Yeah, how does your energy stay going? How does your tempo keep going as that animal? Yeah, what are your arms doing? Yeah. Nick, how does this insane animal affect your animal? What the heck is wrong with that animal? I love it. Yes, good. If you want to add some sounds, what kind of sounds does your animal make? Good. Nick, get the heck out of there. Yeah, Pilsner, get on. Ooh, nice. Good, Pilsner, stay on. Claire, run away. Nick, come on. Nick and Pilsner begin to hold a conversation as these animals using your lines.
This feels like a battle march.
And for God's sake, don't do drugs.
This feels like a battle march.
And for God's sake, don't do drugs.
Good, yes, playing.
This feels like a battle march.
Yes, playing with pitch changes, playing with tempo changes. How does all of that animal work affect the voice? Good, good. Thank you for playing the vocals already. Yes. Good. Feeling that shape then, Grace. Go ahead and allow that to take you into like half human. So your 4 feet become 2 feet. But certainly the charisma that your animal has can stay. Yes. How does this character talk to Nick? Mm-hmm.
God's sake, don't do drugs.
Good, Nick, exit, and Anna, come on in. And share your lines with Grace. Grace, share your line with Anna. How does this conversation unfold? Continuing to think and feel with the tempos and the spatial relationships that your animal would experience.
I'm soft about things that I realize. I love you. I don't know what else to say. I'm softer about things than I realize. I love you. I don't know what else to say. I'm softer about things than I realize. I love you. I don't know what else to say. I'm softer about things than I realize. I love you. I don't know what else
Good.
to say.
Good. Playing with the voice. Yeah, keep playing with pitches and volumes.
I'm softer about things than I realize. I love you. I don't know what else to say. I'm softer about things than I realize. I love you. I don't know what else to say. I'm softer about things than I realize. I love you. I don't know what else to say.
Good, Anna, keep going off. And Claire, come on in.
I'm softer about things than I realize. Go and smile. I'm softer about things than I realize. Smile. I'm softer about things than I realize. Smile. I'm softer about things than I realize. I'm softer about things than I realize. Smile.
Good. Last but not least, Claire, I want you to go find your happy place. Your animal's happy place. Grace, go find your animal's happy place. Pilsner, come back in and find your animal's happy place, preferably a place far away from the other two. Your animal, there are 5 gray squares on the floor. Which one does your animal like the best? You can have fun checking them all out first, whatever you want to do. Check it out, and so when you're ready to decide which gray square your animal wants to keep, then you keep it by staying on it. Nick, I'm feeling your animal's going to feel real comfortable right on top of those steps, so if you'd like to climb up there, that would be great. Good.
I'm softer about things than I realize.
Come on, smile.
This feels like a battle march.
I love you. I don't know what else to say.
For God's sake, don't do drugs.
Come on, smile. I know you want to.
I'm softer about
I love you.
I'm softer about things than I realize.
Come on,
This feels like a battle march.
For God's sake, don't do drugs.
I don't know what else to say.
This feels like a battle march.
Come on, smile. I know you.
This feels like a battle march.
Come on, smile.
I'm softer about things than I realize.
Come on, smile.
For God's sake, don't do drugs.
I love you. Come on, smile.
And just for fun, who's the one animal at the zoo that just never shuts up? Which one of you is that character? We've had someone be volunteered. Go ahead and can you play that for us right now?
Come on, smile. I really want to. Come on, smile. I know you want to. I love you. Come on, smile.
I'm softer about things than I realize.
Come on, smile. I know you want to.
This feels like a battle march.
Come on, smile. I know you want to. Come on, smile. I know you want to.
For God's sake, don't do drugs.
This feels like a battle march.
Smile. I know you want to.
I'm softer about things than I realize.
Come on, smile. I know you want to.
And the last event at the zoo is everyone gets to leave and go get their dinner. How does your character realize it's supper time, and how do they exit to go get that supper time? So one of the things that I, Gina, like to do in my class, I made up, it's called a song-a-log, where we all bring in a song that means something to us, and we sit around while we all listen to that song, and we all journal as we listen to that person's favorite song. And then we hand to the person who brought in that song everything we journaled about. And then they are supposed to take all of the words that we've given them and turn it into a monologue. So some things make sense, some things don't, and eventually it's pretty cool because their job then is to make it all make sense. So these song-a-logs are essentially written by all of us, secret messages or not so secret messages giving to other people in our class, and then they are put together into a monologue. Many of them last around 5 minutes, but we've cut them down for showcase to about a minute, minute and a half for your viewing pleasure. So here is Nick Swope with his song-a-log, and this is the shape of the moment before he is walking into.
Wow. Holy shit. I listen to this song almost every day. The Eagles. Classic. Like you. You are a classic. Worth all 6 minutes. Yeah, this is just fun. You're generally having a good time, bopping your head to the music, and then you stop. What does this remind me of? Oh, that poem that goes, you can't stop smiling, or you can't stop your smiling. I'm running out of steam. This is inspiring. Such a lovely place, it made you smile. But what went wrong? Why are you erasing? I think you try to find joy in even the worst things, but you still doubt yourself. Maybe this isn't as fun as I want it to be. Running away from reality, you can escape your own mind no matter how hard you try. Restless sense underlying darkness. The perfect place may not be so perfect. Start speaking. Stop living behind the bars of judgment. You can escape. You often check out by making a joke or finding comedy in the lack of words, or is it because you're afraid of what you might actually say? Start speaking. Never stop. And for God's sake, don't do drugs.
Come on in, Nick.
Wow. Holy shit. I listen to this song almost every day. The Eagles. Classic. Like you. You are a classic. Worth all 6 minutes. Just genuinely having a good time, bopping your head to the rhythm, and then you stop. What does this remind me of? Oh, that poem that goes, and you can't stop smiling, oh, you can't stop your smiling. Oh, I'm running out of steam. This is inspiring. Such a lovely place, it made you smile. But why are you erasing? What went wrong? I think you try to find the good in even the worst things. But you still doubt yourself. Maybe this isn't as fun as I want it to be. Running away from reality wants to stay in one place, stays where most comfortable, restless sense, underlying darkness. The perfect place may not be so perfect. Speak up. Stop living behind the bars of judgment. You can leave. You often check out by making a joke or finding comedy in a lack of words, or is it because you're afraid of what you might actually say? Speak up. Never stop. And for God's sake, don't do drugs.
So one day, as we were working on our song-alogs, we decided to play around with the moment before, meaning when you enter a room, what just happened to you before you entered that room, it's going to change how you talk. And then we said, well, wait a minute. When you enter the room itself is also a moment before that's going to change how you talk. So we started playing around with setting ourselves up into random shapes, into random places, and then the person who's going to do their song-alog will walk in and change up how they do their song-alog based off of what they see. So, Grace, Come on in.
Angry, but you seem happy about it. Pretty funny. I'm indifferent to Shakespeare. Why do you hate him? Intriguing. Funny. Shakespeare bad man.
So just for fun, whole new shape, whole new look. Let's see what it does to Grace's song-a-log now.
Angry, but you seem happy about it. Intriguing. I'm indifferent to Shakespeare. Why do you hate him? Funny. Shakespeare bad man. Opinionated. Unpopular opinion. My opinion is right. Why is that person so popular? They suck. Popular for the wrong reasons. This reminds me of a bird being focused on your paper like prey.
This feels like a battle march. This is great. You know, singing along to an anthem. I wonder what made you choose this over others. Music is so intimate. What is the most important thing to say? You are your own unique self. You're a badass when you speak even when you're not supposed to. New discoveries wait around the corner for you, so don't cross the street.
Okay, Pilsner, we're ready.
This feels like a battle march. Singing along to an anthem. I wonder what made you choose this song over others. Music is so important. What is the most important thing to say? You are your own unique self. You speak even when you're not supposed to. New discoveries wait around the corner for you, so don't cross the street. Hair and shoulders moving with vibes of joy, but lips tense, hair and shoulders drop. You seemed like you wanted to start singing. Try that you sing. I think there's a vulnerable part of you that you hide under the confidence, under the
Hi, everybody, and welcome to one of the many crazy things that we did on Zoom to keep our classes going during this amazing pandemic experience. One of the things that we ended up figuring out how to do was storyboarding. A lot of times for movies, you will see that they draw pictures of how the story unfolds. So what we were doing one day is we were staring at everybody's picture on the screen, and I said, oh my gosh, this looks like a storyboarding event. And so what it became was a weird exercise that we made up, thanks to the pandemic, based in improv, just looking at all these pictures on our screen and making up a story based off of what we see. And the first person who has been volunteered to do this for us is Jordan.
Okay. All right. So, there once was a DJ, and he was just looking for the next best thing in music. So, he got his personal assistant, who lived in the sky, to go search the world for the best music act he could find. So they started at underwater. They went from the sky and then they went underwater, and they found a crab living in its shell. Or no, crabs don't live in shells. Something that lives in a shell. A snail living in its shell. And the snail was like, I don't sing, I'm a snail. So they left the snail and went to an underwater cave where they saw Ariel herself. And Ariel was like, oh man, guys, I would help you, but I just traded my voice. She said all this in sign language. And so they left Ariel and they went back to land where they consulted their best friend named Cheryl to see if she knew any good singers. And she said, boy, do I have some singers for you. And she led them to these 3 brown-haired ladies who were all in a band together. And one of them liked to put things on her head, and sometimes they fell off, and the other liked scrunchies. And the last one was very stoic and didn't say much. She may be frozen in ice permanently. And they were like, we would love to help you, but we're just backup singers. We need a lead singer. So they called up their BFF named Patricia and said, will you please be in our band? And she said, I would love to. So they all formed this girl group together where they sang nothing but Prince covers. And it was delightful, and the DJ was happy. The end.
So we are back again for some more storyboarding fun, but this time Hannah is going to tell us what she sees on all of her pictures on her screen and what amazing movie is going to be written based on these pictures.
Okay. Once upon a time, there was a princess who was training to be a queen and was practicing balancing things on her head. But she wanted to write a play, so she needed some advice on how to write it. So she went to her best friend, who was also a really good writer, to get some help. And her friend said, I think that we should get an idea from the person in the sky that I know who's really good at thinking of.
Oh no, she froze. Often an issue that we would have with working via Zoom. It was a good time when things would freeze. It's kind of like live theater where sometimes you just forget your line and everyone on stage is staring at each other until somebody figures it out. Oh wait, Hannah's back. Unfreeze. You were talking about the person in the sky.
Okay. Sorry, I guess my internet is going weird.
Yay, pandemic.
Okay, so there was a person in the sky and they went through the magical gateway to get to them. And a person in pink glasses led them to the leader of the people in the sky. And he said that if you want to write a play, then I think you should write it about a person at the top of a tower and write about your life as a princess. And she said, okay. But he also said, if you're going to write a play, then I think that you can make it even better by adding music. And she said, okay, I'm going to add some music to my play. So they went to the cupboard where they had all the music songs from all of time, and she picked a couple songs, and she went back through the gate with her best friend, and she went home, and she wrote a play, and it was the most successful play that was ever written. The end.
The third session for the first years is entitled Knowledge of the Future. We're thrust into the third session when with the pandemic. So we thought it would be fun to share what would happen to a few of these hearts of the clowns if they are stuck in the pandemic world and they are now trapped in these little boxes. So here's a combination of the first session of Heart of the Clown with us trying to learn how to survive the pandemic and the knowledge of the future. How do these clowns find their exit knowing that they're stuck in these boxes from each other? So Sarah and Hannah, would you share with us your process of the Heart of the Clown?
Sure. Hannah, you want to go first?
Okay. So originally, I didn't really know why I picked this clown. My clown is based off a child, just any child, which is why I have this blanket as my prop. And going through the process as being just this little kid, it became about being comfortable with being just really big and really playful all the time. And being a child allowed me to do that. So
Great. Thank you. Sarah, what about your process with the Heart of the Clown?
So in the beginning, I really didn't know. Here's my skirt. In the beginning, I didn't really know what I wanted my clown to be. I was I would always dance around at CASA. I still kind of do, but like I would always dance around all the time. So it was like, oh, it'd be fun to do something like ballerina inspired. So I did make a little tutu thing. So that was fun. But I think don't mind that. Part of what it was for me is I was always very performative in my interactions with people. And that's kind of part of like my clown. She's very performative, and so I like amplified that and kind of figured out what was behind that performance, like what were the insecurities, what were just like the judgments and stuff. So yeah.
Great. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Hi. So one of the other things that we've worked on, along with our song-alogs and creating our pandemic masks, is the crazy idea of putting them together. So Jordan will be doing the shortcutting of her song-alog, and Pilsner and Sarah will be moving their pandemic masks to the words of what Jordan is saying.
Sorry. And sorry for always saying sorry. Reminder to Natalie Goodman. What? You obviously have a lot of things to say and feel, so say them, feel them, let your voice be heard. So focused on looking focused. Super serious. Stop that! I know what this is. Here's what I think. I'm content with this. I'm in wonder at this, honest. I mean, timing may never be right, but that's okay. Everything might not work out, but that's life. Don't do that. Don't erase being a college student in a coffee shop. You get very focused, made you laugh. My brain's going blank, and I'm forgetting everything I had to say because I don't know what to say. I can't think of anything else to say if you're so stone-faced.
I know that a lot of times with found object mask or any mask, we will move the masks to the words or to music or to a scene. So Cheryl would like to volunteer Pilsner to speak for us. I'll leave the whole screen going there. And everybody, if you would just move your masks dynamically, drastically to the words of Pilsner. What would you like the prompt to be for Pilsner?
Protection versus isolation.
Protection and being healthy is number one. But that being said, and the best way to do that for this specific pandemic is isolation. That being said, isolation doesn't mean you'll be completely healthy because that doesn't take into account your mental health. And I'm a firm believer that mental health is just as important as physical health, if not more important sometimes. So I think that isolation, yes, is needed and it's necessary for this pandemic to stop spreading, but at the same time, I don't think humans can survive in complete and total isolation and still be sane on the other side. So the fact that we're all in isolation, of course we're losing our minds because we haven't seen anybody new in like forever. We've been living with our families, and I think we all know our families can drive us a little bit insane because that's what family is. But it's just this isolation, of course, it's been making us insane and scared and all of these things that our mental health is going crazy. I mean, we spend hours just by ourselves sometimes, like sitting in our room thinking, am I really protected? Am I safe? Who do I know is immunocompromised or is at risk? So yes, we're protected, but are we really? Because at the end of the day, we're just as worried and we're just as scared as we were originally when isolation was first brought up.
Moving. Everyone find your final, what is your final pose? What is your final picture of your experience of the pandemic and how are you going to express that with your mask? Just kind of let that resonate for about 5 seconds. And then you can take your masks off and come back to us.
Thank you, Pilsner.
Thank you, everybody.
Hi, I'm Anna Coletto, and I am wrong all the time, but that doesn't matter, and it's great.
Hi, my name is Grace Goodwin, and this wall makes a pretty good stepping stool.
Hi, my name is Claire Adams. I'm fucking loud, and I have a ton of shit to say.
Hi, I'm Sarah Dykeisen, and I know I'm a whip.
Hi, I'm Hannah Hodson, and I deserve to be heard.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I do trust myself.
Hi, I'm Jordan, and I'm a jellyfish, and I'm okay with that.
Hi, my name is Nick Swope, and I know I'm funny. I also know I'm happy, sad, angry, annoyed, excited, confused, motivated, energetic, forgetful, inspired, proud, nervous, surprised, calm, disappointed, awkward, amused, envious, bored, confident, committed, distressed, tired, peaceful, empathetic, and exhausted.